it's not healthy, but it's so acceptable.
It is socially
it's
acceptable.
crazy how many people, and it's crazy how many people kind of make fun of me for posting like gym stuff.
Yeah.
And how many people post pictures with alcohol at parties, dinners and blah blah. And it's normal, it's more normal to poison yourself with alcohol than being healthy and going to the gym.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
It is insane when you think about it.
When you think about it.
I mean, it is so insane. It actually has a label. I mean, it's called social drinking.
Social drinking, yeah.
I don't know what that... I mean,
in the sense that, you only drink with the company of others and gatherings and stuff, but
I don't want to give off the impression that a drink is not acceptable. But
No,
my point is, if that is
absolutely.
acceptable, then the other part, which is the opposite healthy part, should be also as equally acceptable.
I find out that I have to give so many explanations to people when I say I don't drink alcohol anymore.
But are you an alcoholic?
And they're like, okay, but just have one. I'm like, no, I don't drink alcohol anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you mean you don't drink alcohol? I don't drink it at all. Like, so nothing, no alcohol at all, not even one in a while, no.
Yeah.
And now it has been a year. I had one glass of wine with my dad for Christmas, when we were having Christmas lunch. But apart from that, I really don't miss it.
Yeah.
Like, I feel much better. And people is so upset. People get super upset.
And even in Malta, especially in Malta, it is so widespread, the whole thing. Obviously, because, we love beer in Malta. We have our local brewery, we love it, But yeah, it's Hobbit mentality. It's Hobbit living. That
true.
and smoking.
That's true. But to be honest, I don't blame people drink, because I've been drinking all my life. I started drinking, as a child, my dad would give me a little bit of alcohol or beer.
Or like a little bit of wine with Sprite in it or something.
As a child. And then obviously, I worked as a PR for clubs in Napoli for years when I was young. So I would have access to free drinks, basically unlimited free drinks. Started drinking when I was 15, 16 years old until 34.
Yeah.
Drinking my soul out. So I don't blame anyone who wants to drink. Just let me not do it if I don't want to.
Our legal department tells us to specify that this was before Laura.
But yeah, so talking about
drinking
and adult content. Does this count as adult content?
Well, I would say borderline.
Borderline,
I would say adult content.
Today we're gonna talk about some adult content.
Okay, so bye kids, good night.
Hello everyone.
Hello.
And welcome to episode 21.
21.
Is it 21? Yeah, I think it's 21.
The episode is old enough to legally drink in America.
Yes, now Epigeek, session 1 by Epigeek can drink in the United States.
See, that is why we were talking about alcohol, because this all ties into the grander scope of things. We knew exactly what we
we knew exactly that it was episode 21. We had no doubt at all. We didn't have to go back and check, because I feel like we have done 21,000 episodes. It feels like we've been recording this forever.
Feels like
Meanwhile,
forever.
I think is a little less than a year.
We started in September.
So soon will be 1 year.
Yeah, and speaking of alcohol, taking my daily dose of calcium.
Yeah. I'm having Guinness.
Sure.
Bubbly
Flat
sweet.
Guinness. So hello and welcome back to the Session 1 podcast, episode 21, as we said.
This is Peppe and this is Kurt. If you are a new viewer, obviously.
Yeah, we have a bunch of props.
Yeah, we have a little bit of decoration, extra decoration today.
My beloved Frostmurn.
Yeah, because our friend Kurt here is quite obsessed with one of the things we're going to talk about today. To be honest, with all of the things we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, but specifically.
Specifically one.
Yes.
Because today we're going to talk about all the new revelations that were done at Gen Con 2026 by Wizard of the Coast, so Dungeons and Dragons. By the way, we are a Dungeons and Dragons podcast.
Just in case I haven't
In case you don't know, because we've been talking about alcohol, we've been talking about Malta, we've been talking about different stuff, but we're a D&D podcast. And we're going to talk about D&D stuff that came out at Gen Con 2026. So we're going to talk about 2 new settings, we can say.
Yeah.
They both return to Dungeons and Dragons, and one that is already, even in 5th edition, is already here, Greyhawk is already here. The two new ones are Dark Sun, which we haven't seen since 2nd edition.
Of course, it has
Which
been
is
that long,
crazy.
because after 3rd, everyone swaps to
Which
Forgotten
is
Realms, right? Yeah.
crazy. And it was never released, no module released for 3rd edition,
Yeah.
3.5.
Yeah.
This other edition that nobody knows about, and the
Yeah.
5th edition and 5.5.
Yeah.
There was never a Dark Sun book, and then there is the Great Return, which is actually, I find out there is not a return per se, because it was never D&D officially, but World of Warcraft. Because
Yeah.
the books that they released were not.
Okay, so first and foremost, Warcraft had its own RPG system in the
Yes.
past. And maybe we'll touch upon that a little bit later, but it had its own RPG system. It kind of started and failed, and its lore, the lore that was presented in the RPG, is not exactly canon, but we consider
No,
it
yeah,
like
definitely.
canon adjacent.
No, that's definitely not
to,
canon.
to Warcraft.
To Warcraft the game.
To Warcraft the
Uh-huh,
game.
the video.
So it's considered more like canon adjacent, and even some of the graphic novels, like I have the graphic novels over there.
Some of them are not.
Some of them are like
canon.
canon adjacent. It's one of those things that Warcraft wanted to retcon a bit of time later.
But that connects to what I was saying, because it came out with D20 system.
Yes, it did.
It came out with the rules, like it was using the OGL rules
Yes.
for D&D 3.0 and D&D 3.5,
Yeah.
but it was never released under
D&D.
Dungeons
No.
and Dragons.
It was never partnered content or official
Exactly.
content.
So this is technically
first
Azeroth
one.
is coming in D&D for the first time.
So yeah, Azeroth and this whole universe. So that's the thing. Like how we think about, Forgotten Realms, Abertoril, and there's this whole like galaxy, so to speak, of different planets and settings within it. Warcraft is pretty much the same, where you have Azeroth, you have Outland, that is now or used to be called Draenor. There's Nihilan. There's a bunch of other planets as well that kind of are their own setting, kind of, but they all tie into the main one, which is obviously the influence on Azeroth.
And by the way, today I'm gonna put, because in this podcast we have talked about World of Warcraft a bunch of times. I mentioned World of Warcraft a bunch of times because Kurt is a big fan of that. Today I'm gonna put his knowledge to the test. We're gonna see how much he knows, because I'm gonna mention some stuff that I, as an enjoyer of Warcraft, not World of Warcraft, I know absolutely nothing about. So we'll see if you remember.
Okay, this is putting me on the spot. I didn't know about this, by the way.
No, like I don't have like questions, but I have mentions of stuff that I found.
Sure.
And I want to know if you know what they are, where they are, because some are locations, some are characters, some are
Sure.
stuff.
I'm looking forward to this.
So we're gonna talk Dark Sun, we're gonna talk Greyhawk, we're gonna talk World of Warcraft, and we're gonna talk about Worlds Beyond, which is the new line of content that Dungeons and Dragons is launching in collaboration with other creatives, like Ghostfire Gaming, I believe Paizo as well. For sure there is what is the Matt Colville one called? There is that one as well. So there is going to be in collaboration with a bunch of other things, both to create new. Obviously, there is going to be Gary Gygax's son, which is working on some other Greyhawk expansion stuff. There is Joe Manganello, which is going to work on Dragonlance stuff, and also is going to work on his Death Saves line, with a lot of like grim, very violent stuff as well, which I'm really looking forward to. So there is gonna be a bunch of stuff. Luke Gygax. I was trying to remember the name of Gary Gygax's son.
I have quite a number of opinions on the Worlds Beyond, both positive and negative, but we'll get to it there and then.
And the main announcement of Worlds Beyond, obviously, is World of Warcraft that is coming, and Star Wars next.
Star Wars.
So
Both
this and more
interesting.
in episode 21. Roll the motherfucking clip.
So, Pep, what is the first one that we're going to be diving into
I would
today?
like to start with the one that I am most excited about, which is Dark Sun.
Okay.
Because I love the kind of very grim, survival, violent, adult theme of Dark Sun. I have never played Dark Sun per se, because obviously I've never played 2nd edition. I started playing with 3rd edition. And I'm really looking forward to that, because it's the first time that Wizard of the Coast in 5th edition and 5.5 had to put
Disclaimer.
18 plus for, I wrote it down, for graphic violence, bloodshed, profanity, nudity, and sexual content.
So here's the thing. First and foremost, ballsy move in today's climate, but I think it's a good move. I think the general geek, not geek kingdom, kind of, whatever you want to call it, the geek culture as is nowadays, even Warcraft is influenced by this, by the way, has gotten a lot of towards the PC friendly, safe, legally defensible, non-offensive route, something which is very soft, and what needs to be appreciated. And mind you, there's benefits to that.
Yes, there is plenty of space for that.
Exactly.
And it's right that it exists.
Exactly. But also that alienated the core players that started this genre.
The
OG genres of
nerds.
40 years ago, 50 years ago, you know what I mean? So the really hardcore metal ones, you know? So unfortunately that led to a bit of an alienation of those kinds of... So a return to something like this, a return to a piece of content which has a disclaimer.
Yes, which is...
might not be something I will play or enjoy myself, but I'm looking forward and excited to have as part of our tool set.
Yeah.
You know, looking forward to something like that.
Absolutely. And to be honest, for someone like me that came from 3rd edition and 3.5, where there are certain books which are quite... They did have disclaimers. When the Book of Vile Darkness came out for 3rd edition, it did have a big disclaimer on the cover.
Yeah.
Because that has certain content that can be very triggering. There is content of assault and torture and slavery and violence in general.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't exactly the good and happy ponies kind of.
Exactly. I mean, it's the Book of Vile Darkness, which definitely has its place in D&D, because that's part of, and it's part of the reality of the real world.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that it's also part of the fantasy world. Is it for everybody?
No,
absolutely not. And that's why it's good that it has it says that it's adult content, that it has a disclaimer. But I am very excited to see if they will actually do that. And obviously, we don't want the violence for violence sake, or the nudity for nudity sake, or the, you know...
No, absolutely 100%. And this is something that also as a DM I try to touch upon. Like, obviously, when you're writing stories and you're crafting narratives, you want to reflect real world in a way. So, okay, so you are criticizing what happens in the real world by reflecting it in your fantasy. Have your party fight it, you know? So,
because sometimes even overcoming that evil, it's some sort of, you know, not only revenge against it, but also some sort of, you know, manifesting your will of, how do you say, like judging it as bad, rather than just pretending that doesn't exist.
Yeah, absolutely. You know? No, I'm with you 100%.
So, Dark Sun is coming out with 2 books, which are going to be like the Forgotten Realms one. They're going to be sold together.
Yep. So an adventure book and a content book.
Exactly. One player facing, one DM facing. It's going to be Blood and Power, which is the more player expansion, and Dark Sun Edge of Oblivion, which is the DM setting and expansion. There is also going to be like extra stuff like map pack and D&D the Dungeon Master Scream. There is going to be a limited edition cover. I don't know if you saw it already.
I have not. I've seen the other ones, but I haven't seen the Dark Sun ones.
So there is going to be that as well.
Yeah, something comes to mind. I don't have enough space in the library. I need to make space.
We'll have to get a bigger library. But in Blood and Power, there is a big news, which is we're going to have the second new class
So
in Dungeons and Dragons 5.5 edition, which is gonna be the Scion.
the Scion. So that's a little bit funny for us, and I'm laughing because just a few days ago we were looking at the new content that's coming out, and I was criticizing some of it. Not criticizing, but I was talking about some of it, and I said, listen, like this would make more sense if it was its own class. And Peppe said they haven't released the class in 20 years, and he's right. And then they announced that they're gonna do the Scion.
They do the second one. Yeah. So literally in 20 years, because it's 1996 is when the Artificer came out for the first time in third edition, and then a little bit after that they also released the Scion. But this thing in third edition was very different because third and 3.5 was very different because you did not have subclasses.
Yeah.
Everything was a class.
Everything was a class, and I believe you had also the, what did you call them? The not archetypes.
No, there were
like what you did if you had like the
prestige classes.
The prestige classes. Sorry.
Those were sort of like they were similar concept to the subclass, but they all had prerequisites to enter that prestige class.
My point is, it was easier to introduce something like that, rather than a new class entirely.
In fact, the Warlock was introduced as the hexing blade or hex blade, something like that, as a first concept. Actually, the hex blade was born before the Warlock. And that's what they, in 4th edition, they made the Warlock from the hex blade from 3.5. And those were all classes. So now from 1996 until last year, 2 years ago, let's say, I mean, in 5th edition, Artificer came out pretty early, so
in 5th
like 5 or 6 years ago,
very,
5 or 6 years ago. And now the Scion, which is gonna come out most likely with 3 subclasses, according to the UA, because this thing, we saw the Scion in 2 Unearthed Arcana playtests, both of them in 2025.
Yes, I remember them.
And one was in May 2025, one was in October 2025, and it came out with the Metamorph, the Psykinetic, and the Telepath. So the Metamorph is basically like a bruiser of thing, and the Psykinetic is gonna be like the one that moves the thing around, and Telepath is the one that's gonna control the mind and speak telepathically.
More like a controller kind of thing.
And blah blah blah. I am very excited for the Psykinetic and the Telepath. I don't know about the Metamorph.
I think the Metamorph will need to really lean into the Eldritch aspect of, changing, like the spell that there is, like, to, what is it called, that one that you can change your hand into at large tentacle or something, that sort of thing.
That was basically what the Metamorph was in the UA. So you can transform your arms into blades or like hammers or...
Like, remember that game how I mentioned a few... Prototype.
Prototype, yes. Yes, that's exactly the idea of the Metamorph. It has interesting mechanics. It has, psionic dice, like the Psy Warrior and the Rogue Soul Knife and blah blah. So all those are gonna be part of the family.
Probably
together with the Sorcerer Aberrant Mind. Those are all gonna be part of the Psionic family. The thing that I like about the Scion is that it's gonna give us another intelligence-based caster. Because obviously it's going to be a spellcaster.
I don't think it's going to be a long-range spellcaster. I think it's going to be their mid to close range, especially with the Metamorph in play.
The Metamorph probably is going to be more focused on melee fighting. It's going to be like a kind of like a spellblade.
It could also be like what the Blade Singer is to the Wizard kind of thing. Like the Wizard is typically like the range class, but the Blade Singer is the one that goes up close and personal.
It's gonna be somewhere in that region probably. In those UAs, we have seen other subclasses, which may also very likely come out in the Dark Sun setting because they were very Dark Sun specific. Which is the Preservation Druid, the Gladiator Fighter, the Defiled Sorcery Sorcerer, and the Sorcerer King Warlock Patron. Now, specifically, the Sorcerer King Warlock Patron and the Defiled Sorcerer are obviously super Dark Sun themed. because Dark Sun is basically a desert environment, very harsh survival, and that is because of the defiled magic that exists in Dark Sun, which is basically taking energy from the environment in front of you and manifesting your magic. So the defiled sorcerer basically sucks energy out of other living creatures and use it to hurt. And the Sorcerer King Warlock, which by the way was fucking fire in the UA, was so good, comes from the concept that in Dark Sun there are the Witch Kings, which are called the dragons, because there is literally one dragon in Dark Sun, which is the Sorcerer King, which is the only dragon that exists there. Which basically the Witch Kings, they were like a group of sorcerers that have learned have become the best defiling magic users, and they have become the main one has become so powerful that turned himself into a dragon in order to lock in the sort of like deity that gave them the defiling magic. Because this guy was so powerful that all the best spellcaster had to get together to lock him out of reality. So pretty fucked up stuff, but the Sorcerer King Warlock patron was insane. The Gladiator Fighter explained itself, like it's gonna be like a Mad Max sort of vibe for the fighter. And the Preservation Druid is basically the opposite of the defiled sorcerer.
Exactly, that's what I was thinking. So like obviously to try and reverse the effects of something like that to preserve whatever remains. But yeah, it looks interesting.
So yeah, it's gonna be brutal, it's gonna be adult, and it's gonna be post-apocalyptic, because obviously resources are gonna be super scarce.
Of course.
Survival is gonna be tough, and I really hope they focus on that, as in like create mechanics for survival, because D&D lacks a lot in that aspect.
So even while we're playing the campaign, I noticed that a lot. Like, you know, the rations, for example, the basic most thing you can track for survival. Like, how often do we forget it? Every fucking day.
Because there isn't really...
Because there is no detriment to...
I mean, there is
exhaustion, technically.
No, I think like there are conditions, like you do get levels of exhaustion, but there are like other conditions, like, you know, the suffocating and the malnutrition.
Yeah, suffocating is fine, I can understand, but like, but come on, like...
Yeah, I
there's so fringe stuff that you really find it a lot more of a hassle to integrate them and try to keep track of. It feels like you're being like that kind of DM.
Yeah.
You know,
you need to be a bit of a picky, like, you know, annoying DM in that sense.
Yeah.
But I also think that it has become like that because obviously we don't focus on that aspect as much.
I think it's
also
also
learned not having specific mechanics for that, we don't really lean on that.
There's also the video gamification of roleplay as well.
Yeah.
You know, like in video games, you don't stop and eat every other time, except in a handful of games, which track that mechanic specifically then.
You know what would be cool, for example? And then I'm bringing these like literally on top of my head. In the same way that Baldur's Gate 3 consumes resources to take a long rest, it would make sense that like if you want to take a short rest, you need to expend a ration, for example. If you don't have rations with you, you can't take a short rest.
Yeah, that can work.
And same for the long rest. Like if you want to take a long rest, you need to have obviously a safe spot, you have to consume a ration, and you have to have obviously at least 6 hours or 8 hours or 4 hours if you're an elf.
Yeah.
You know, that would already, obviously it's not going to be a great, necessarily like a great mechanic or like a super interesting mechanic, but at least you give a little bit more sense to those resources that are...
Yeah. So that's something that would make a lot more sense as well. Maybe we'll look into it in the future for our own games, but we'll see how that turns out.
Now, besides Dark Sun, which is the one that is going to come the sooner, is the first one coming, which is coming at the end... sorry, my mistake. The one that's coming at the end of this year is World of Warcraft. Dark Sun is coming next year, most likely in February.
Yeah.
It has not been 100% confirmed the date of it coming out, but it's going to be between February and July 2027, which is going to be the season of survival.
Yes.
So calling
Makes
it the
sense.
season of survival, I hope they're gonna give us some survival mechanics.
Let's hope
with
so.
Daxan.
Yeah, the Warcraft. I know that it's coming out earlier because I already saw and put my finger on the alternate cover, which is so fucking good.
It is already on D&D Beyond for pre-order as well.
Yes.
That one is coming November this year.
Yes.
So in a few months.
Around the time of BlizzCon, in fact.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes absolutely sense.
Around the time of BlizzCon.
Yes. Before diving into, because I know that is gonna be the chunkiest part of the episode. So let's talk a little bit about Greyhawk, because Greyhawk is coming back to D&D 5th edition. Obviously, Greyhawk has been part of D&D since the origin of Dungeons and Dragons. First edition, the first main word was Greyhawk. Greyhawk has been part of 5th edition already.
Yeah.
There is a bunch of, in the Ghost of Saltmarsh, there is some Greyhawk adventures. In the Yawning Portal, there is a bunch of Greyhawk adventures. Lost Laboratory of Qualish, the Lost Cavern of Soigan, those are all from Greyhawk. So we have a bunch of small to medium adventures in Greyhawk. But Greyhawk is coming back with a full adventure, which is Crown of the Witch Queen.
Okay.
Is coming...
We all know who the Witch Queen is.
Yes.
She lives just around the corner.
So the Witch Queen, famously of Dungeons and Dragons, is one of my favorite characters ever.
Yeah.
Ever. I love her. First of all,
cool.
she hot.
Well, at least depicted hot.
Hot. She's depicted hot. Yeah. So this is the thing. We don't know what she really looks like. But she's depicted pretty hot. She has tattoos on her face. She's a baddie. She's a baddie with tattoos on her face. Which is Tasha, also known as Igwil. Igwilv, which is said to be the daughter of Baba Yaga.
Yes.
The D&D version of Baba Yaga, not John Wick. Don't start. I know you were going to go there. So, Crown of the Witch Queen is going to launch later in 2027, the Season of Sword and Sorcery.
Which makes sense.
Which is what Greyhawk is going to try and bring back. So more like dungeon crawling and less heroic and more like combat focus.
What D&D used to be
What
before.
the origin of D&D was. Which is very much what I started playing in 3rd edition.
Yeah.
Because back in the days...
It was less about the role play.
I feel I was lucky with my group and my DM specifically back in the days, because he leaned a lot on the role-playing side of the game. But all the other people that was playing D&D at that time that I met in Italy, most of them they were playing just like exploring dungeon, killing monsters.
It was the same all around the world, to be honest, because even I could see it like when we were running the campaign with the OGs. You know, Jason used to play Dungeons and Dragons ages ago, like when he was younger, and
I think Jason second.
I think second edition he used to play, maybe third, I don't know, but I think second. But even then, like you could see that his preferred way of playing Dungeons and Dragons was fighting dungeon crawling kind of thing.
Kicking doors, killing monsters,
taking names, giving them to other creatures.
So we Season of Sword and Sorcery, which they're going to try and bring back, and something that was said during Gen Con is that this adventure is going to be very villain focused.
Okay, all right.
Now, when they said that, a lot of people on the internet started thinking of, oh, we're going to get an evil
I don't think it is
campaign.
I don't think that's going to be the case.
Because last year, or beginning of this one, they released the villainous options for player. So when they said villain focus, a lot of people thought about, oh, villainous options, so we're gonna have the Lich and the Death Knight and blah blah blah, which is still a possibility because that is not confirmed. But it's also not confirmed that it's gonna be an evil campaign. I don't think it's gonna be an evil campaign.
I don't think so either.
When they say villain focus, I think it's gonna be very much shaped by the villain, like Curse of Strahd. Or like, I don't want to say it because it's really not, like how Vecna Eve of Ruin was supposed to be. Like in the sense, like it's focused about this big villain, this big personality villain, which everything revolves around.
Exactly. And I think having something like that around Tasha is precisely
so
very.
And this is the thing; it's not going to be about Tasha is gonna be. So we know that Tasha is gonna be in it.
Yeah.
But we don't know, because the campaign, the villain of the campaign is gonna be Drelzna, which is a classic Greyhawk character, which is the daughter of Tasha.
Yeah.
So now, because it's called Crown of the Witch Queen, and they have anticipated that she is gonna attempt to claim her birthright. What is the voice on the internet is that probably the adventure is gonna be her trying to up villain Tasha.
Yeah.
And become herself the Witch Queen.
Yeah.
Which means that if it's not a villain campaign, so the characters are gonna try to help Tasha or save Tasha. Because obviously if the villain is Drelzna and she's trying to fuck with Tasha, which I don't think she can, to be honest. I don't think anyone can fuck with Tasha.
I don't think that's feasible.
Yeah, I think maybe the only one who can fuck with Tasha are probably gonna be like Lae'zel Silverhand and Mordenkainen, like this level of people.
Actually created
crazy people. But so obviously nothing is confirmed yet.
Of course.
We know that this is all
conjecture.
Conjecture. But so bringing Greyhawk back, there is a heavy presence in the imagery, in the artwork that they have shown of Castle Greyhawk and the Yatil Mountains, which are very famous Greyhawk locations. We don't know if the adventure is going to bring characters there. We don't even know the starting level, ending level, details on the plot, so all this is all conjectures. But we know that the villain is going to be her, and we know that she's going to try and claim her birthright. So we'll see if we're gonna be allies with Tasha, or if maybe we're gonna be villains that are gonna work against. Well, because technically Tasha is not good either.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a matter of choosing the greater of two evils.
Yeah, like trying to preserve balance, I guess. Not to create a war between two super powerful Greyhawk.
I think so. If it's villain, okay, so it could be either the players helping on Tasha's side, defending Tasha, or I mean, we know that they're going to be against Drelz now. So they could also be maybe just stopping all of this.
Maybe just stopping her plan to become. Because this is the thing. Like, we know that Tasha is not good, but she's not evil either. I mean, she's kind of evil.
Yeah, I mean, she's evil by the deeds that she's done.
Yeah, she has. I mean, she has.
It's not like she's evil in the
daughters and sons with devils. She have explored the abyss multiple times. She has created a book that contains multiple demons in it. She has done some fucked up shit. But also she has. I mean, technically, in Back Naive of Ruin, she saves the multiverse together with Mordenkainen and Lae'zel Silverhand and the party. So she's not evil, but she's definitely not good.
Yeah, she's not good.
But
she's up for your interpretation.
You don't wanna fuck with Tasha.
No, that's for sure.
Actually, there is a goodish version of Tasha in Madonna, the Feywild adventure that is for 5th edition.
The Wild
Beyond the Witchlight. There is Igwilv, which is the Fey version of Tasha, which has been captured and the party can save. I actually would love to play in Wild Beyond the Witchlight, because it said, I don't know because I didn't play it, but it said that you can go through the entire campaign just without fighting. Without any, because no fight is mandatory. Like you can always find a way to go around it.
That's very interesting. I mean, to be honest, I think exactly. I was going to say, like, it wouldn't be our typical kind of campaign, but I think it's worth. I think it has to be one of those things where it's a bit of a rite of passage for any D&D player and DM kind of to run a campaign without any combat. Rite of passage, you do it once, but then you can say you've done it, kind of thing. If it's not that kind of thing for you, and personally, I think I would rather have the combat.
I would rather have the combat as well. I find it so entertaining. It's part of the way I build my character. Like when I build my character, I keep that in mind, obviously. Less so with Defiance, to be honest. I think Defiance is one that I optimized the least from the combat sides. Is more optimized for social encounters. but I do enjoy having, fights and stuff. And also, I don't know if, like, I would love to play in a campaign that is only, that has no fighting, but then at that point I would prefer, like, political intrigue more than a fantasy Feywild adventure.
Exactly.
So, next up, we're gonna have, finally, your favorite moment of today's episode.
I've been waiting for this since we started the podcast.
Yes. World of Warcraft is coming to D&D 5.5.
Here's the thing. I am both excited about that, and as I've told you, like on other chats, I'm also a little bit hesitant about it. I'm happy, but also not too happy about it, and there are reasons for that.
So, I think your reasons are very legit.
Yeah.
In a way. Yesterday we recorded an episode of the campaign. Yeah. So I was in the room over there with the others while you were doing the cold open. I was like, I'm so upset with Kurt. And they're like, why? Like, because Azeroth is coming to D&D. And he's not super excited. As in, like, he's upset because there is not going to be all the classes of the...
So far, but yeah. So here's the thing. First, you need to understand Warcraft. And I'm not going to go into like a 6-hour lecture on what World of Warcraft and Warcraft is. I mean, there's enough content for you to learn about that. But when you're porting...
There are literally video essays on YouTube with 5 hours.
Listen, if you go on something like World of Warcraft, if you go on Bellular, does some lore videos as well. There used to be a bunch of others. But anyway... Aetherius, I believe. So when you take something like Warcraft, it has a very specific narrative and mechanic on the way it is played. So anyone who plays World of Warcraft knows that there are the classes and the talent trees, what we call subclasses, kind of like, the talent trees are the equivalent of subclasses, right? So you have, for example, Warlock, okay, which is distinct in a way on how D&D works. And then it has the 3 talents, which are Affliction, which is causing diseases, hexing, that sort of thing. There's Demonology, which is controlling demons and summonings, and then there is Destruction, which is absolute fire everywhere kind of shit, So taking that and porting it into a D&D specific mechanic is very risky in the sense you can do it either really well or you can do it really poorly because you're either fulfilling all the fans' expectations of that fantasy or you're going to fall short. Which might be better for D&D in general, because like obviously D&D would appeal to a lot more people than specific Warcraft does,
things, yes.
But you risk alienating that Warcraft core fan base. And another thing which kind of worries me a little bit is that I worry about D&D going the way Magic the Gathering is going. With Magic the Gathering, I believe it's called Icons of the Realm.
Yes.
I believe. Where at first I think it started with... I can't remember what it started from, but now there is like Magic the Gathering for... it's the same game, it's just featuring cards for Final Fantasy, Lord of the Rings. I think Lord of the Rings was the first one. Final Fantasy, Lord of the Rings, there's Doctor Who, there's...
My Little Pony.
My Little Pony. There's like...
I don't know if there is My Little Pony, I said it wrong.
Yeah, but like taking the piss out of it. Yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there were.
Polly Pocket.
Avatar, The Last Airbender, which I mean, they are cool to see, but I think it's easier to translate them to a card game than it is to a role-play game.
So, about that, there has been a specification from the D&D team saying that they're gonna try and be more selective to things that are closer to Dungeons and Dragons. So they're not gonna go My Little Pony D&D. At least that's what they're declaring now.
They're just gonna be the mounts.
We don't know if they're gonna do that or not. But that's why I was saying, like, I think your questioning of it is very legit. But on the other side, I would say I like the approach that they have taken because I think it would have been a lot more disappointing for OG fans like you.
Yeah.
If they went and did all these classes.
Yeah.
Because, so this is the thing. You can't port one-on-one a video game into D&D.
You cannot.
So if they did the exact classes that exist in World of Warcraft, it would have been disappointing because it wouldn't have been exactly the same. So what they're trying to do is, and I'm gonna read from here because this is something that they have said, that there is gonna be 40 plus specialization builds.
Yeah.
which basically means, okay, if you want to play this class of, if you want to play the fantasy of this class of World of Warcraft, you play X class, maybe multi-class with X other class, take this spell, take these feats, take this background, blah, 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 and that is gonna give you the same feeling of playing that class.
Yeah.
Then, apart from that, there is going to be the actual subclasses that they've created specifically for World of Warcraft, which, in differentiation from normal subclasses, are gonna also change certain things that the class does.
That's interesting. Now, if that is done that way, then that is a little bit more acceptable to me. And by the way, when I said earlier talent trees, like when the subclasses, we also call them specs in Warcraft, like specializations. So yeah, that tracks so far.
So Warcraft is coming back. Azeroth is coming back after almost 2 decades.
Yeah.
After the previous, we said before, it was not really D&D, it was like a D20 system role-play game.
The Warcraft RPG.
Correct. Which, by the way, when the news came out, it had been leaked already 6 days before, because Roll20 posted something by mistake, like 6 or 7 days before it was actually announced. But yeah, so the book will be 256 pages, so pretty thick book.
Chunk.
Yeah. There will be 13 World of Warcraft classes.
I'm trying to think whether there are 13 classes in Warcraft. I think there are.
But let me, because the specification is not 13 new D&D based classes.
Yeah, of course, because some of them overlap.
There is going to be 6 totally new subclasses, which are going to be just for World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
And then there is going to be 3 updated subclasses from D&D 5.0.
Okay.
And then there is going to be 40 specialization builds, feats and spell to recreate the 13 World of Warcraft class fantasies.
Yeah.
Now, the 6 new subclasses, of which I am very excited to see what they do, is the Oath of the Ebon Blade Paladin, which represents the Death Knight fantasy of World of Warcraft. The Oath of the Holy Paladin, which is the Holy Paladin.
So Holy Paladins in Warcraft are healers, typically.
So are like healer paladins.
Yeah.
So
Healadins, we call them actually.
More than clerics. They're like more melee than
exactly.
Than
they would be up close and personal healers. They would be doing some little bit of damage, but their most focus is healing their party. Specifically, I think one of their main abilities is, unless it has changed recently because I haven't played Paladin in a while, is the Beacon of Hope, which is highlighting someone, and when healing someone else, it heals them as well.
Oh, okay. So probably there's going to be like, I mean, D&D, we literally have a spell called Beacon of Hope, which maximizes the healing that you do when you are in the Beacon of Hope.
So it might be called something different, but I think the ability to heal 2 people at once might be
I think they might be like
they
giving like a special effect to the Beacon of Hope spell.
Maybe.
Then there is the Demon Hunter Ranger, which represents the Demon Hunter.
This is what threw me off at the beginning, because Demon Hunter is very specific in what it is. So in Warcraft we have the Hunter, which is the equivalent of the Ranger, which is a Beastmaster, either running around with a pet. It has a Marksman, so sniper kind of build, and you've got the Survival, which is melee weapons, what the Gloomstalker kind of is, but less stealthy kind of shit. So like setting traps, running in the wild kind of shit.
Like the Trapper,
Trapper.
Ranger
from, very similar to
Ghostfire
that.
Ghostfire Gaming.
Yeah. So what the Demon Hunter is specifically is what the name implies. It's a class that was created to hunt demons specifically. It's a highly mobile, highly melee class, and the first 2 subclasses, the first 2 specs that came out for it were, one was damage, which was like obviously hunting, dealing damage, and the other one was actually taking demon powers to buff yourself to become a tank. Okay. Then a third one came out last expansion, which is the Devourer, it's called, which is a mid-range caster / melee caster. So kind of you step away, you do your casting thing, you jump into action, you fight, you jump back, and this
cast again.
But it's a highly mobile class. So for all of that flavor to be captured in a subclass, that is what kind of threw me off in the beginning.
You think that could not be achieved with the Ranger?
I won't say that it won't, but I think it has to significantly rework what the Ranger archetype is in D&D.
Obviously you don't have to think Ranger of D&D.
Yeah.
You have to think Demon Hunter.
Yeah, but at that
Because
point,
now the way you are describing it, I can see already like how a ranger could achieve that kind of things. Obviously, you have to give them an expanded spell list, like
Exactly.
all ranger gets, and you have to give them some specific spells
Yeah.
for doing that.
Yeah.
But for example, the ranger has the spell that is called Zephyr Strike,
Yeah.
which allows
Yeah,
them
yeah,
to
yeah.
move without provoking attack opportunity, gives them extra mobility,
Yeah.
and a little bit extra damage if you want to. So, for example, that might help them to get in and out
Yeah.
of the fight without provoking attack opportunity. And
it has to be like that. But there's also significant overlap on how the monk is played as well.
yes,
So there's like the mobility of the monk and the lethality of a ranger kind of thing. That's what a demon hunter kind of is.
which I don't think is
Yeah.
it's
I don't think it's impossible. It's just one of those things where I think
They have
like
to be-
why didn't do it as its own class?
because I think at that point having the ranger already, would it make
Yeah.
sense to make a more mobile ranger?
Yeah, but that's the thing because
in
because
between.
in D&D the ranger is a lot more expanded than a
exactly.
hunter is in Warcraft.
But that's why I think it would have failed more
Maybe.
if they did the space. Also because then can you play a demon hunter in Greyhawk?
Not specifically to
play,
target demons. Don't get me wrong. No,
that's what I'm
because
saying.
demon hunters nowadays, I mean, we don't always fight demons in Warcraft, but
Yeah.
they're also just as equally effective.
yeah.
They were created to do that. But now, after that Legion expansion came out and the demon hunters came out, now we fight a lot more of other cosmic threats. But the way also like demon hunters work is they like empower themselves with like an immolation aura kind of thing. So they have like the ability to imbue fire in their weapons. So there's a lot of different mechanics that need to be captured, which in a subclass I think would be constrained, but also not enough to fill maybe a full class with multiple subclasses. So that is why I'm a little bit hesitant about this. I'm looking forward to it. I want to see what they're gonna do with this, but I'm still not going to say, oh, it's gonna be the best thing in the world.
I mean, we will have to wait and see what comes in. But I think it's interesting what you just said because I think the concept that is a lot to fulfill just in a subclass. I think that's why they made it so that some of these subclasses are gonna change some of the main
Yeah.
things. So, for example, let's say the Hunter's Mark free casting maybe can be used to cast Zephyr Strike,
Yeah,
so they can
yeah.
move. So I think I want to give it. I want to trust it.
Yeah.
Because I never played World of Warcraft itself. I played Warcraft 2 and 3 for a while when I was very young. And I love the concept, the visual of World of Warcraft. I was always very interested in playing World of Warcraft. I was never a PC gamer a lot, so I never played World of Warcraft itself. But I do think that it's something that can fit into D&D very well. I think it's a world and a fantasy
On its
type.
Yeah. It's
that
very
can
much,
fit
obviously
into
Warcraft
D&D.
is heavily inspired by what Dungeons and Dragons lore was back then, pre-90s, ġifiri, and also like it's very Tolkienish in a certain sense, because Dungeons and Dragons was inspired by Tolkien.
Exactly.
So it does fit into the track of, okay, so this is the next progressive step in the creation of fantasy, but it's not quite both of them at the same time. So I'm kind of hesitant. I'm still gonna get the book. I mean, obviously. So yeah, what other subclasses are there?
Nobody had any doubt
Yeah,
about it.
come on, man.
So Demon Hunter Ranger, then we have Shadow Domain Cleric, which
Shadow
is going to
Domain,
be the
that is
Shadow
interesting.
Priest. It's going to represent the Shadow Priest.
That is interesting because in Warcraft, what Shadow and Void are very similar, and they represent the Eldritch, which kind
So we're
of
going to have an Eldritch Cleric, maybe.
could be
Shadow Domain
Shadow
is
before
nice.
just used to be like the opposite of light is what like the healing stuff. Shadow is the damaging stuff when a cleric is talked about. But like lately, we're seeing Shadow is more inspired by Void and Eldritch.
I mean,
so
hopefully.
could be something similar.
Then there's going to be the Discipline Domain Cleric, which is going to be the Discipline Priest.
That is nice. That one of my first ever created character in World of Warcraft 22 years ago was a Discipline Priest.
And what's the vibe with the
Discipline Priest is a healer, but in more of a protection kind, like an abjuration kind of stuff.
So preventing damage more than
Yes,
healing it.
bubbles, barriers, and preventing
I
damage.
like that. I like that a lot.
And then nowadays the fantasy has changed a little bit, where it is dealing damage. With that damage, you heal someone else. Like you prevent damage,
nice.
but then when you deal damage, you heal someone else.
Nice. And then there is the one that I left it for last because I know it's the one that's going to upset you the most, which is the Path of the Elements Barbarian, which is the one supporting the shaman fantasy. I know that that's gonna upset you because we talked about it.
Yes and no. So this is one of the things, like obviously having discussed what we have discussed so far, I can see it working, but the only thing that I can think of tying shaman mechanics in D&D and in Warcraft with a barbarian mechanic in D&D is simply one spell, which is Bloodlust, or Heroism if you're on an alliance.
Okay.
So basically there's this spell which is a 10 minutes cooldown. Sorry, it's a 5-minute cooldown but 10-minute debuff, so you can't use it again in 10 minutes. Which basically gives you like a 40% haste, you attack faster, you deal more damage, and you know, it's like going enraged kind of thing. That started from Warcraft 3, the shamans from the orcs casting Bloodlust. That's where it's from. So I can see like the equivalent of that being the raging of a barbarian, you know? But part of the elements is very much not Zen in the Oriental sense, but then like in tune with the elements, in tune with the balance of the land. Like shamans, which are element shamans lore-wise in Warcraft, is more like listening to the land, listening to the water, listening to the air, and kind of trying to find the balance and not let one upset the other kind of thing, which really doesn't fit into a barbarian fantasy in my mind when we talk about Dungeons and Dragons.
So yeah, we'll have to see what they have in mind with that. Because now that you described it like that, I'm like, I don't know if the barbarian was the
because that's the thing,
necessarily the right choice.
Because Druid in D&D is very much a Druid and Shaman in World of Warcraft.
Yes.
Because Druid in D&D is not just nature plants, it's also the land, it's also the cosmos.
It can be the fire, it can be the fire. The stars, can be the water.
Yeah. But in Warcraft it's much more specific because obviously you can't have the full version of a Druid class in Warcraft because it would have like 17 subclasses, you know. So this is why I'm saying there's a little bit of dissonance between what Warcraft is and what D&D is, and how to marry them. It's going to be a challenge. I'm really looking forward to it to see how they do it, and I hope to Thor, to Odin, to any other deity that is listening that is gonna be good, because I really want to run a Warcraft game.
You will have anyway.
I'd love to.
You have to, if it's good or bad, you
I already know how it's gonna start. I've been thinking about this since 2004.
And then, so these are gonna be the brand new subclasses. Then it's gonna be 3 updated subclasses, of which 2 of them are some of my favorite, which is the Swashbuckler Rogue, the Path of the Spiritual Guardian Barbarian.
Spiritual Guardian Barbarian. I'm trying to think. Spiritual Guardian.
So no, these ones are not necessarily to emulate anything of
but the
World of
Swashbuckler
Warcraft.
and the Warrior of the... Sorry, and the next one is the Warrior of
the
the
next one is the Warrior of the Mystic Brews.
So
which
those
is
two...
the drunken style
drunken monk. Yeah, but kind of thing. It's more of a tank in Warcraft. So, but in that, it's a very interesting mechanic, and I hope that they implement it, which is going to be difficult to implement. But it's delayed damage. So you take damage, you put it in like kind of like a delayed effect, and you get it progressively rather than getting like a 100-point hit. You get 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. It's like delayed damage. And then while you're taking that delayed damage, if you're healed, you remove it, and there's the whole mechanic. It's going to be...
You can manage it.
You can manage it. It's hell for a DM to run something like that. Yeah. So I don't think they're going to implement it quite that way.
Yeah, but maybe they do something like I think at least the previous drunken style monk was a lot of like redirectioning damage or the parrying or absorbing damage in a certain way. So maybe they do something like that.
Yeah, could be.
I mean, as a concept, because I don't think in D&D was never implemented, at least in 5th edition was not implemented properly, but as a concept is really fun.
Yeah.
Like I always imagine Jackie Chan.
Absolutely.
When I think of a drunken style monk, like the moving, the parrying, the redirecting,
the whole elbow moving kind of thing. Yeah,
exactly. That's what I.
With the open palm. Absolutely.
And then there is the Spiritual Guardian Barbarian.
That's what I don't know what they're going for, because Spiritual Guardian, I can't think of anything in particular.
There isn't anything that summons like spirits or ghosts.
Am I missing something? Am I missing something? Spiritual Guardian Barbarian. I can't think of anything particularly like specific to one class, because it's spread over multiple classes, maybe even some like enemies and NPCs. Thinking of the Mogu maybe, but nothing comes to mind specifically. So I may be missing something.
We'll see what will be. I hope they don't fuck it up. I hope they don't fuck it up the Swashbuckler.
The Swashbuckler is interesting.
Is a really good role.
Swashbuckler was never always in Warcraft. that was introduced later on as a replacement for one of the for the specs for the rogue, because the rogue used to have assassination, which was poison.
Which is the one that you become invisible.
No, all rogue classes become invisible specifically, but assassination was more about poisons, dot damage over time, and that sort of thing. Then there was assassin. Then there was the subtlety, which was more about subterfuge, stealthing, and dealing big damage from stealth. And then there was the combat rogue before, which was supposed to be the one that you don't stealth, but
like the melee.
Anyway. Yeah.
The more melee, like open fights.
Yeah. And that one became the swashbuckler eventually, like rolling the dice of fate, and with like pistol shots and that, literally like a pirate-esque kind of rogue. So yeah, that makes sense.
So we are gonna have 16 species in this book, 11 completely new species, plus the World of Warcraft implements of dwarf, elf, goblin, human, and orc.
That's interesting. There are like some 6 races of elves, but sure.
So there is, and I don't want to butcher the names, so tell me.
Would you like me to go through them?
Yes, if you want to go through them.
So, starting from the most recent ones, the last. So in Warcraft we have the races, which are the species, and then we have allied races, which are same as species. They just have they would have been introduced much later on in the game. They would have been introduced through some sort of quest line, not like as part of an expansion as such. It would be part of an expansion, but you need a prerequisite quest line, and the lore wouldn't necessarily be so expansive on them. So, so the main species would be the dwarf, the elves, humans, goblins, and that sort of thing. But then there are allied races, like in the Drakthir, the first one that we have on the list, is one of them. Drakthir are what we call winged dragonborns in D&D. So they're typically like humanoid dragons, essentially, with the way dragons work. Yeah. The way dragons work in Warcraft, they're not the same as chromatic and metallic. There's only chromatic, and there's 5 specific flights: red, blue, green, black, and bronze. And they all represent...
So there are no white dragons?
No white dragons in Warcraft. And they all represent...
bronze are evil?
Not really. No.
So dragons are all...
So you find good dragons and you find bad dragons.
But it doesn't matter the color that they are. It's like a personality-wise.
Yeah, it's just a person. And they represent an aspect of magic in a way, or an aspect of existence. So red would be representing life. Green would be representing nature and dreaming. Blue is magic, like pure magic, arcane. Bronze is time. And black represents like the physical plane, the earth, and the land and that sort of thing. And then from each of them there is a Drakthir. There's a Drakthir kind of, but the Drakthir were introduced in the War Within. Was it the War Within? No, in Dragonflight expansion. Yeah, I'm not too keen on them, but they're there.
What about the Draenei?
The Draenei, that's the Draenei. The Draenei is one of my favorite classes because they have so much lore about them. Now, as opposite to Drakthir, Draenei are literally aliens to us. They're blue-skinned. They have like tentacles on their chins. They have tentacles on their head. They have hair. The female Draenei are the subject of a lot of adult content. They have hooves. They have a tail. They're very interesting because the Draenei were actually originally from a planet called... they were initially called Eredar. The Eredar.
I remember the name.
So the Eredar eventually became demons, but some of them who did not want to become demons fled away and they became Draenei. Draenei means I believe it's called refugees, like in their language, like the runaway ones. They landed on a planet called Draenor, which is where they got the name from eventually, and that is Draenor is where the Orcs are from. And there's this huge lore piece about them which ties directly into the cosmology of what World of Warcraft is nowadays, and what it actually started as, in fact, you might remember from Warcraft 3, the main villain, the end villain was Archimonde.
I don't think I've ever got to the end
of the game. But there was the demons, mainly Kil'jaeden, who created the Lich King eventually, and, well, in the old lore, which is the true lore, like, fuck everything in Shadowlands. But yeah, sorry, I'm gonna crash out in Kella.
Controversial opinion.
I'm gonna crash out otherwise. So there's like the 3 Draenei leaders. 2 of them became lieutenants to the demon god, kind of, to Sargeras, and the other one became the leader of the Draenei, as we know them, Velen.
So we have the Earthen.
Earthen is so there was a lot of conjecture about Earthens in the early days of Warcraft, and then they developed it very well in the not in this expansion, the one before it, in the War Within. Earthen are stone dwarfs. Okay. They're supposed to be the progenitors, like what dwarfs came from.
Okay.
Because in Warcraft, the idea was that life was created in more of a non-flesh way. So that you had like earthen dwarves, you had earthen humans, kind of like Valkyries or proto-Valkyries, that sort of thing, or Stormforged. And then they were corrupted by the old gods, the Eldritch, and they were given the curse of flesh. So then they became that afterwards, but it's not really clear. It was one of those topics which back in Wrath of the Lich King back in 2012 we felt like this is the direction the lore is going, and then they retconned some things and changed it, so now we don't really know exactly. There's a lot of conjecture about the way it is, but the Earthen for sure are the progenitors to dwarves.
Okay. It gives me like what you were saying about all the races that they were like all coming from. It gives me like a bit of like a Genasi, like Earth Genasi, but for all the races, like the dwarf Earth Genasi, the human Earth Genasi of D&D, obviously. Forsaken. What are the Forsaken?
The Forsaken are undead.
Ah, the undead.
The Forsaken are undead.
Okay,
when in Warcraft 3, actually in Frozen, what was it? No, it wasn't Warcraft 3, when Arthas went to Northrend and then came back to Lordaeron, killed Terenas Menethil, his father, and then he resurrected all of Lordaeron and the Eastern and Western Plaguelands into undead. After Warcraft 3, there was the events of the Frozen Throne, where we saw Sylvanas Windrunner, the former leader of the Forsaken, breaking free from the powers of the Lich King and becoming like a sentient undead. And like her, many others, and they became the Forsaken.
What about the Haranir?
Haranir. So Haranir were introduced in this expansion. They were supposed to be introduced in the previous one. So it's a piece of content which was ported from the last expansion to this one because it was not finished on time back then. The Haranir are supposed to be the progenitor to all trolls and elves.
Okay.
Supposedly.
So like,
but they're very subterranean. Kind of like Fae, they're
creature?
in touch with what we call the world soul. So the actual planet is a world soul planet, we call it, which when fully developed and then becomes alive on its own, it becomes like a deity.
Okay.
But the Haranir are very much in touch with that.
Like
I'm not too
Gaia from the Greek mythology.
Kind of. I'm not too keen on the Haranir because they had to really jump through hoops to make them make sense.
Mechanome. Actually, we do have Mechanomes in D&D.
Mechanomes,
they came out with the Spelljammer adventure.
Basically, Mechanomes are... So there are 2 kinds of Mechanomes. There are the Mechanomes which are the progenitor to gnomes, much like the Earthen are the progenitor to the dwarves.
Okay.
But there are also the gnomes who then cybernetically change themselves into Mechanomes. Like, for example, the current leader of the gnomes, Gelbin, Mechatork, is also a Mechanome nowadays because he was in a siege. He almost died, and then they took him to Mechagon, and then they turned him into a Mechanome to make him survive. And by the way, the thing that actually saved him was called PLOT armor, plot armor. Yeah, it's true. Like it was, like it has like a whole abbreviation. It's called plot armor. Pandaren. So Pandaren are very controversial, but they have actually been in Warcraft since Warcraft 3.
Do they look like pandas?
Yes, they look exactly like Kung Fu Panda.
I hate them.
Kung Fu Panda came after this, by the way.
I hate them already.
Kung Fu Panda came after this. And by the way, a lot of people shit on the Pandaren, but the Pandaren are so fucking cool, man. They are so zen. Their whole shtick is fucking enjoy life, seek balance, drink and eat, and train. And like the whole point is, their whole question, their whole philosophy is, why do we fight? And that is actually where the monks come from, because monks were into thing before Mists of Pandaria, which a lot of people shouldn't on it. It's my third favorite expansion in Warcraft. At the time, it was my second.
Okay.
Honestly.
The Tauren, I remember them.
The Tauren are from Warcraft 3 times, and they're basically Minotaurs.
Yeah. The Troll as well.
Now the Troll, the Trolls are in the same way as Trolls are in D&D. They're more like a cross of like lanky, tall, hunched over
Goblin.
elves, kind of. Elves more like, with long ears and like
Aren't
tusks.
the one with the tusks.
Those are the trolls. And you can find both normal trolls and what we call berserker trolls, which are like buffer and yeah. But it is currently understood in the mythology of Warcraft that elves, before it used to be that elves came from trolls, but now because of the Haranir we find that the Haranir then branched into trolls and elves.
Okay.
And then there are the different like elven races and the troll races.
And then we got the last two, the Vulpera
So
and the Worgen.
So, Vulpera were introduced in Battle for Azeroth, I believe. Yes. So, the Vulpera are fox people.
Okay.
Short fox people. They kind of suffered a little bit from the fairy curse, kind of.
Okay.
Because, like, you know, they're fairies, essentially. You know, they're interesting. They're much more like pack animals, pack societies, caravans, kind of thing.
Okay.
So they travel in caravans and they're very much like bartering kind of, but they're also very sneaky, roguelike sometimes as well. They can be. I've only leveled one just to get their heritage armor and I never played another one again. And the Worgen, some of my favorite, actually I played the Worgen for a very long time, are werewolves. And they're humans from Gilneas specifically, this one of the nations in the northern kingdoms which fell to the Worgen curse. So in Warcraft we had 4 major wars during the Second War, which are the events of Warcraft 2. Gilneas closed its walls and kind of retreated as a nation. It broke itself from the alliance, and their king, Gen Greymane, closed the walls of to it. What happened was, however, that just outside the walls there was a town called Embervale, I want to say, I'm not sure. And Shadowfang Keep, which is basically where they were, like there was a sorcerer, a magician, and he was exploring with the curse of the Worgen, basically creating werewolves. And some of them got over the wall, and then they infected the entire nation.
Okay.
So they're an entire nation of Worgen.
Okay.
But they can morph between human form and Worgen
Okay,
form.
so they're like actual werewolves. Do they become just wolves as well, or just hybrid or human?
No, they don't become wolves. They're hybrid or humans.
So hybrid or humans.
Yeah.
So these are all the species that are gonna be.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the species also does a lot of work to make you feel into the world. So I'm happy that they actually released all these species more than if they did all the classes, because the classes it would have been a lot more heavy. Meanwhile, the species...
I think for a good narrative Warcraft campaign, it has to be much more centered around the species than the classes. The classes just need to tag on as a functional, this is how you get through combat kind of thing.
The book, as we said, is going to be a pretty large book.
Yeah, by the way, the alternate cover for the book is fucking ace, man.
Yeah,
it's
I haven't seen
good.
It yet.
It's green, and it's got the main NPC mobs from Classic. Okay. So like kobolds, murlocs, nagas, and... Gnolls, I believe they are on the book. It's hilarious. Great, I love it. I really want it. It's gonna look so different over there.
I want to see if it's on D&D Beyond. No, it's not. It's not in the article that I was.
No, but you can look it up and you can find the alternative.
I will definitely do.
Yeah.
So there is gonna be 60 plus spells
That's
in
going
the
to be
book.
interesting. There's quite a lot.
Because they're gonna introduce a lot of spells specific of the game.
This is one thing that I really wanted to kind of like bring to the discussion, and maybe we can discuss it even another time when we're talking about maybe spells and that sort of thing. So in Warcraft, there's no such thing. It's not a Vancian spell system, you know, like it is in D&D. It's a cooldown based spell system. So I'm
refresh.
So I'm really interested to see how they're going to implement certain spells. Like for example, Fireball it's a 3rd level spell in D&D. In Warcraft, it's a bread and butter for the Fire Mage. So you kind of have. I'm really curious to see how they implement it in a way that makes sense.
Actually, one of the discussions that I've seen online, one of the interviews that I've seen online, there is. Oh my god, the guy has a super fucking cool name, and he's one of the senior designer in the D&D team.
Is it Ian Hazekostas?
No. Like he has a cool sounding name.
Chris Metzen, there is.
I can't remember it right now. Is the guy with the glasses and the curly grey hair and the goatee. Is one of the most senior. Like he was, I think, underneath.
I just remembered something else, by the way. You know how in the campaign we mentioned Morhaim's Landing?
Yes.
The actual main creator of World of Warcraft is Mike Morhaime.
Ah, okay.
That was the
That was the
inspiration. Yeah, it was a bit
inspiration
of a
for,
tribute
okay.
towards him.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, anyways, that was a bit of a segue.
That's cool. So yeah, there was an interview to this senior designer of Dungeons and Dragons, which was exemplifying one of these, paths that they're giving to emulate.
Yeah.
And like, okay, so if you want to play a mage in the World of Warcraft sense, for example, it will tell you you play an evocation wizard, like the only, not the only wizard you can choose, but if you want to have the feel. You choose the evocation, then you choose this specific background, and then you pick these specific spells.
Because a mage in Warcraft, no matter the spec that you choose, is an evocation. Because there's either an arcane mage, which is using arcane magic, like pure non-fire, non-frost. There's the frost, and there's the fire. And they're evocation, all of them. Anyway, they just deal fucking damage. You know?
And that's that's the idea that they put behind okay, we're gonna give you this path so you can play these fantasy of World of Warcraft. But so there's gonna be 60 spells expanding. I'm very happy.
I mean, the more spells, the better.
Yeah, spells like giving you more choice.
Absolutely.
And more flavor. 25 plus magic items.
If Frostmourne isn't one of them,
it is.
Okay.
At the very end, look at the last thing that I wrote in there.
That's the only part I can see because my laptop is way over there.
It says
was only
Frostmourne is the last point. Frostmourne and Invincible are getting official 5.5 magic item rules.
Invincible is the Lich King's mount.
Okay.
It's the Lich King's mount. It's a winged undead horse. There's a whole song.
And
called
what is Frostmourne?
I'm gonna kill you with it. Frostmourne is controversial nowadays, but back then it was simply the blade of the Lich King. It's a rune blade, obviously, and it was supposedly created by the Lich King, who is not Arthas originally.
Yeah, no. Arthas becomes
the
Lich King
new Lich
after
King.
he gets
After he wears the helm of domination in the Frozen Throne. Because with this he becomes a Death Knight. He does this, and it claims his soul, corrupts him. He becomes a Death Knight.
Pretty cool fucking shit. Also, new mechanics for D&D. In World of Warcraft, there's going to be 10 plus professions.
So here's the thing, professions in Warcraft are crafting stuff.
Yes.
So like blacksmithing, leatherworking, and then there's the production professions, and there's the gathering professions.
And that's what we know so far. It says Wizard describes professions as a new mechanic for D&D. They are intended to make downtime more mechanically meaningful through crafting equipment, creating and upgrading items, tinkering, and preparing between adventures.
Listen, we can take this and implement it in the campaign directly, because one of the things that I always felt that D&D was weak on was the actual crafting mechanics. And I've always liked the way Warcraft crafting worked. It's a shame, and fuck you Blizzard for doing this, to make crafting so irrelevant in the past 10 expansions or so. Before, in Classic and in Burning Crusade and in Wrath of the Lich King, crafting was meaningful, where you could get up to end the game with crafted weapons and crafted armor.
So you meant to say so meaningless.
Sorry, so meaningless. Sorry, it's really meaningless. Because nowadays, it's so useless. It's just a time waster at this point, and fight me on it. I live in Malta, fight me.
Fight him on it. So yeah, there are going to be 10 plus professions which are going to expand on the D&D crafting, which is not great.
It's not. But
let's hope they do something different, something more expansive. Then there is going to be 50 plus monsters and 30 dungeon boss stat blocks.
These will be interesting.
So there's going to be a lot of Warcraft specific monsters. There is going to be 7 playable dungeons. And this is where I wanna have your knowledge.
Let's do this. Let's close the laptop to make sure I'm not seeing it. It's not even on the screen right now.
Nah, that's fine.
But it's closed.
So this is gonna be rapid fire. You just tell me what they are. Okay, like a very general description.
Okay.
So it's 7 playable dungeons.
Okay.
There is Azjol Nerub.
Azjol Nerub is an underground city of almost like spider-like monsters. It's in Northrend, and basically it's part of the Nerubian kingdom, one of the 3.
Okay, Black Fathom Deeps.
Black Fathom Deeps is in Ashen Vale, very close to Darkshore, to the south of Darkshore, west of Ashen Vale, and it's basically a Naga dungeon or a Murloc dungeon. It's very water themed. That's basically it.
Then there is the Dead Mines.
Dead Mines is interesting. Dead Mines is the first dungeons that the Alliance Humans players would play, especially back then. Dead Mines are a mining facility run by the Defias crime organization, the Vice Gang, essentially. Excellent lore on that, and this is why I will always play in the Human Lens in Classic, because Edwin Van Cleef, the final boss, or his daughter Vanessa, are the final bosses. Basically, they built Stormwind, the capital city of the humans, but then the nobles didn't pay them.
Okay.
So then they became a crime organization to harass them, and it's in Westfall.
Dire Maul.
Dire Maul. Dire Maul is interesting. It's supposed to be an ancient elven city run by the Torthledin or Torthildin, something like that. They're basically high elves, very magic based. However, most of it is overrun by ogres.
Onyxia's Lair.
Onyxia's Lair is interesting. It's one of the first raids that you could play in Classic. Onyxia is so you know how I said there's like the different colored dragons? So they have aspects, the chief dragon of each flight.
Okay.
The black one, known as Neltharion, or Deathwing, as we knew him in Cataclysm, had 2 children. Nefarian, the boss of Blackwing Lair, and Onyxia.
Okay.
Onyxia's Lair. And Onyxia also took human form for a good number of decades, and she took over Stormwind, the capital city of the humans.
The Scarlet Monastery.
Scarlet Monastery is very interesting. So Scarlet Monastery represents the zealous nature of what religious fanaticism is. There's the Church of the Holy Light in Warcraft for humans. Scarlet Crusade is basically the xenophobic, almost like KKK-esque kind of part of like religious fanaticism, where basically it's just humans, full stop. They're very xenophobic, and typically it has 4 wings: the library, the cathedral, the armory, and the cathedral, library, armory. I think it's not the gardens. I can't remember the 4th one.
The last one.
The last one was
Shadowfang Keep.
Shadowfang Keep is the one I mentioned earlier. It's the small keep, the small castle where Worgen experiments were carried out, but it's not actually where the Worgen come from. But they were heavily experimented there, and it's in Silverpine Forest.
Any expert of World of Warcraft? Because I don't know nearly enough of World of Warcraft to judge what Kurt just said.
I could have made all of this shit up.
Actually you could. You could. I would not know. But any World of Warcraft expert, please go in the comments and tell us if Kurt passed the test or not. So there's going to be also 23 Azeroth factions.
That's interesting.
And they're going to use the Renown system, which exists already in D&D, in the Dungeon Master Guild, which I think is an underrated system. I think it's interesting. There is a lot of possibility and effect that can happen when you get Renown. I think maybe if they expand on it a little bit,
for indefinite campaigns that run around the table between a couple of friends, that's a perfect system to implement, because Renown in World of Warcraft basically gives you access to better items and maybe even better quests, which could work in if you have the kind of, okay, go do this for me and then come back, go do this for me and come back kind of thing, which lends itself narratively very well to a normal D&D game. For our campaign specifically, I don't think I would implement such a system, because our campaign online is very narrative driven. We're telling a story and that's it. But I could definitely see something like that being implemented in a normal D&D campaign very easily, much like the Professions.
And the setting that is going to come out for World of Warcraft is not locked in one specific point in World of Warcraft history.
I assumed.
So they received guidance from obviously Blizzard on the stuff, but the factions, the conflict, and the location, they all belong to those different periods, and it's not specified, it's not locked in a specific time. So if you want to use, events of
Cataclysm or Wrath of the Lich King,
you can play in whatever
Warcraft 2. Absolutely.
Exactly, you can play in whatever time you want. And then there's going to be a separate Icecrown Citadel adventure.
That's interesting. Icecrown Citadel is the citadel where the Lich King sits.
It's going to be a level 16 to 20 adventure.
Makes sense. Lich King is an apocalyptic threat.
It's going to have his own maps. It's going to have 10 boss encounters, 16 new magic items.
Okay.
And the adventure obviously will take the characters from the Lower Spire to the Frozen Throne.
Exactly.
And it's going to directly involve Arthas, the Lich King.
So it's going to be set pre the end of Wrath of the Lich King.
And last point that I have about World of Warcraft is that Frostmourne and Invincible are gonna get official 5.5 magic item.
Listen, I think they would have had riots if they didn't introduce Frostmourne.
Yeah, I truly believe that.
A true Warcraft fan playing D&D would never wield Frostmourne, but you can't not.
You
have
think
it in
would
the game.
never wield Frostmourne?
Yeah, it's
Why?
because it's a corrupted rune blade, and Frostmourne I mean, okay, yeah, you're gonna tell your own story, but Frostmourne was destroyed, broken with the Lich King.
Okay.
You know, Tyrion Fordring destroyed it, like when he was like the last cinematic.
So last thing I want to speak about, obviously with Universes Beyond.
Oh, sorry, let me
we
just
have
say something.
mentioned-
It wasn't just broken; it was also reforged into an axe.
into an axe. Okay.
Shadowmourne.
That-
It's a legendary axe.
Yeah, I've heard. Of
It's a
Shadowmourn.
legendary
Yes,
axe that Knights, Warriors, and Paladins can
I think
get.
actually you mentioned it to me. That's why I remember the name. So yeah, there are two last things. So there is with D&D, obviously, Universes Beyond. We're gonna have the option now to explore different IPs like World of Warcraft and Star Wars, because Star Wars is also coming to D&D.
But we don't have much information on that yet.
We have no information at all about Star Wars yet. The only thing was Darth Vader came on stage, he lighted up the lightsaber, and he pointed at the screen, and there was Star Wars. And
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, I don't know what
That's
they're
all we
going to implement with Star Wars, because like it is a space fantasy, but it's not fantasy in the same way. Like magic doesn't. There's the Force, but it's not the same way as magic. So I'm going to be like, I'm not going to say anything good or bad about it. It's just I'm going to see like, okay, let's see where they go with this.
This is the thing. I don't think that if you want to play a Star Wars game in D&D, because I understand there is people who want to play only D&D.
Yeah.
I understand it. I think there are other RPG that can serve Star Wars better. But obviously, if you're gonna go play Star Wars in D&D, you're not gonna be playing most likely, a ranger.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it could be a bounty hunter.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but that would be.
I think taking inspiration from what
Could be a fighter as well. Could be a rogue as well. The bounty hunter.
I think to
could be,
create the classes in the way that they created them for Warcraft,
Yeah.
I think they have to follow the SWTOR one, the Star Wars: The Old Republic RPG, the MMORPG for Star, because it had a very good subdivision of classes. I mean, 2 were Force users, 2 were non-Force users, and then they had their different specializations.
I could see like how the Force work with command or suggestion, charm person.
It's like spellcraft isn't really a thing in Star Wars.
Exactly,
So are they going to create something which is like, okay, so no, you can only use like these 4 classes?
That's probably I do believe like you have these 4 classes and you use this as a Jedi, this is a as a bounty hunter, this is I think there is going to be.
Or they could take the really shitty route out of it and say, you went through a portal and you find your way here, you don't play a Jedi at all. You just play a sorcerer.
Listen, if you're gonna go there, if you're gonna do that, come on, fuck off. No, and apart from Universes Beyond, which obviously is gonna give us the opportunity to expand on other IPs, hopefully. Not My Little Pony and Polly Pocket and Barbie and it's not because they just have nothing to do with Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
I
mean, to be fair, the same could be said to Star Wars. It has nothing to do with Dungeons and Dragons, but we're gonna see where they go with that.
there is Spelljammer though in the end. Like,
But
we need
Spelljammer
to
is
consider Spelljammer.
I think Spelljammer is not Star Wars-esque, personally. The only thing in common that it has with it is the fact that it is in space. You know what I mean?
We have a lightsaber in D&D.
Yeah, so we have one in Warcraft.
It's a lightsaber.
We have one in Warcraft as well.
That's what I'm saying. Like I think that there are, in the
Venn diagrams.
The Venn diagram it touches like in a very small area, but there is a touch.
But in that small area, there's an infinite amount of content.
Yes, there is so much that one can do. No, I honestly see Spelljammer as Walt Disney Treasure Planet.
Yeah,
That's
Spelljammer.
That's Spelljammer.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you don't do Spelljammer in that way, you are wrong.
Yeah.
John Silver has to be the captain of your Spelljamming ship. I'm sorry. There is no other way. Otherwise, you're wrong. You're playing D&D wrong. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry
You're having fun wrong.
No, there is gonna be D&D icons.
Yeah.
So a lot of legend returns to Dungeons and Dragons. We talked about Greyhawk.
Yeah.
We're gonna have more Dragonlance stuff. Obviously, there was Dragonlance, Wrath of the Dragon Queen.
Yeah.
In 5th edition.
The book, by the way, the alternate cover is amazing.
It's really good looking, really good looking.
Yeah.
Obviously, we got.
I think I have it here actually.
Lord Sot.
Yeah, it's there.
We got Lord Sot in from Dragonlance in the last Ravenloft book that came out, The Order Within, because he's also a Dreadlord. And we're gonna have more Dragonlance stuff on which Joe Manganiello is gonna be responsible for writing. For Greyhawk and for the Legend of Dritz is most likely gonna be Luke Gygax.
Yeah.
So. And Luke Gygax is in possess. I mean, that's what he said. We don't know if it's true, but he's in possess of unfinished work from his father. So he's working on unfinished stuff from our Lord and Savior Gary
Getting
Gygax.
Chris Tolkien vibes and possession of J.R. Tolkien.
So we're gonna see what icons of Dungeons and Dragons is gonna bring us, and
Let's see.
What else? What else is?
To be fair, I think we've gone on long enough today, and we really
we've
had
talked about
our
everything.
And surprisingly, I'm still not talking about Warcraft.
One last things. They're gonna give to new studio partners the ability to support already created settings. For example, they don't want. So what they said is that they don't want to, come out with a setting, do 1 or 2 books, and then it's done, like a Baron or Ravenloft.
Yeah.
So what they're gonna do is that now they are giving license to Ghostfire Gaming, which is incredible at doing horror stuff.
Yeah.
Expanding stuff for Ravenloft.
But
so there is gonna.
Aside, it's just this is all well and good, and it's great for creators. The only thing that I worry about, obviously, because you have to kind of like be a little bit hesitant about it, is the fact that how is this going to affect? Let's hope it doesn't dilute what D&D is, because we still want Wizards of the Coast to publish their own adventures and their own content. But let's hope that this doesn't mean that they can take a bit of a backseat and let someone else do the work for them, and they just become the tool enabler rather than just the content creator.
And I think,
and I don't think it's going to be the case. All truth be told, I don't think that's going to be the case. But it's also on the verge of slipping that slope, because once you start giving licenses and allowing everyone else to contribute to your game, then it starts diluting what the game originally
But I do think
was.
they're gonna have strict control over
Let's hope so.
Let's
hope so.
So Ravenloft is gonna be handled by Ghostfire Gaming.
Yeah.
Baron is gonna be handled by Visionary Production and Design. Forgotten Realms is gonna be and it's not like they're just gonna expand on stuff. Kobold Press is gonna do Forgotten Realms, which is great. And then it says more to come, so we don't know who else is gonna be. I'm very happy for Ghostfire Gaming to do Ravenloft, because the horror and like grim dark stuff that they do is unbeaten. Unbeaten. Like in my character, there is a little bit of that. Now you will see soon. One of our players is playing. One of our new players. Is gonna have a new. He's going to play a subclass.
Yeah, I think by the time this episode comes out, it will either be just after or just before that player is revealed.
So no spoilers yet.
To be fair, we can say, because we probably will upload something on social media to introduce it.
Yeah, of course. And eventually maybe we can have them as guests for the podcast as well, so you get to know the new members of the cast as well, because we are super excited to have them.
We just recorded the first episode with them yesterday. It was amazing.
They are fantastic people. They're lovely people. They're friends. And they are so good at role playing as well. Obviously, we send much love to our
the OOG, I suppose.
The OG 0.2
OG.2.
Tanya and Michelle, we love you very much. Unfortunately, we could not continue playing because life happens, and there is a lot of other business outside of D&D that we need to take care of.
Yeah, and this is unfortunately not our full-time employment yet.
Not yet. So go on
help
our
us.
Patreon. Go on our Patreon. Support us on Patreon, so we can do this full time.
And we have so many plans. If we could do this for full-time, we have so many plans for this. We could do
I
like
want to do
local
so much
games,
stuff.
more convention appearances, more content production.
Epigeeks Con.
Epigeeks Con. Like we go to the Oxcast event, yeah, with Yoccon.
Yes. So guys.
And if that happens in a year or two, maybe D&D will have us on stage and say, "Hey, look, it's Yukabai setting coming out next."
Exactly.
Oh,
Exactly. Amen. Amen to
Amen.
that. Please go to our
Manifest.
Patreon. Go to our Patreon. Support us. We want to create more. We want to do more. We can only do it thanks to your support. So thank you very much for helping us. And I think
That's it for today. I think that's all.
We talked about a lot of stuff.
was a lot
How
of
long
fun
we've been at it, Jade?
I think about 2 hours.
Almost 2 hours. Yeah. I think
Almost
we're
2
close to
hours.
2 hours.
Give and take 15 minutes there, here and there. So yeah. So
Let us know if it's more or less than 2 hours in the comments. If we count.
also,
a bit
by the
less.
way, because we haven't said so, hello
Yeah, actually,
Jade.
hi, Jade.
today. Or bye Jade now at this
Or
point.
bye, Jade. Yeah, we said that very late. Hello, goodbye. So, thank you very much for sticking with us until this point.
It was so much fun today. I really enjoyed it. And let us know if this setup of 3 cameras works better for
Yeah,
you. We're still
actually,
trying stuff out.
Yeah.
A year in, and we're still trying
Hey, listen,
stuff
it's
out.
only 1 year.
Yeah.
Like a child that is 1 year old
Cannot
is
do
still
this.
is cannot do that. Cannot even watch this. Do not. Content warning.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, they can watch this, just wouldn't understand anything anyway. Then if they
I
learn
mean,
fuck
yes.
as their first word, it's on you as a bad parent. But no, kidding aside, thank you so much for watching. This was an amazing episode. Thank you very much, Peppe, for obviously preparing the content as well. As usual, as you might have realized, Peppe prepares a lot, and I come in to be the one who doesn't know as much.
But today,
Yeah,
you
but
knew
today
actually
it
more
flipped
than
the
me.
tables.
Yeah, but most of the stuff that we talked about, you know
flipped the
way more
tables.
than me.
I
So
flipped the tables. To be fair, lately I've been binging a little bit on Facebook and Instagram content. There's this particular guy. He's so wholesome. He's just like some sort of dad in America or something, and he like does trivia questions, and he asks you the question.
D&D?
No, in Warcraft.
Warcraft.
Warcraft
Okay.
trivia.
Sorry.
So he asks the question, like for example, where is this dungeon? And then like 5 seconds later he tells you, so you get to kind of guess it.
Yeah,
I've been binging on that kind of content lately.
There is some content like that even for D&D.
Yeah.
I think mostly on TikTok I've seen it. I haven't seen it on Instagram.
Maybe we could contribute.
But yeah, listen, thank you very much for being with us. Thank you, Jade, for helping us as always. And as always,
don't forget to leave a comment, like, subscribe,
Yes.
usual stuff. Please let us know if you'd like to hear about something else in particular, whether you'd like to hear more about what we just talked about.
there is also our Discord. If you want to join our Discord, we're going to put the links for Patreon, for Discord, for our Instagram, for everything is going to be in the description of the video.
Absolutely, and as always, till the next time, keep being geeks.
Be an Epigeeks.